This is the Yankees POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the New York Yankees. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, Yankees and Tigers was competitive tonight until it wasn't. How about 9 runs in a fateful 7th inning for Detroit? They beat the Yankees 12-2. Again, 9 runs scored for the Tigers in the 7th inning alone. How about this? The first 2 pitchers in that stanza for the Yankees, Fernando Cruz and Mark Leiter Jr., combined to throw 36 pitches, just 14 for strikes, and neither recorded an out. Again, 9 runs scored in the 7th, and the Tigers win it 12-2 as they take the first of 3 from the Yankees. Hello, everybody. I'm Jay Berman. If you're a New Yorker, you might recognize my work. I've spent more than 2 decades in the biz, everything from TV to web to radio. Glad to have you aboard. Please follow me on X as well, at Jay Berman, Jayberman. Welcome to the Locked On Yankees postcast, both on the Locked On Yankees YouTube channel and the Locked On Yankees podcast feed. The postcast gives you a place to chat after every single Yankee game. That's what we do. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Without further ado, let's hit it.
This is what you'll be talking about.
All right, so obviously it was a relatively quiet game up until that fateful 7th inning. As we said, the Tigers put 14 men to plate, 9. All 9 starters scored in that frame. Hard to believe. Again, 14 batters came to the plate in the 7th. Every batter scored in the inning. It's the most runs allowed in an inning for the Yankees in over 2 years. 2 years. Worthy of note, we'll get to it. The bullpen coming into tonight for the Yankees, their ERA was 4.27. Obviously, that's going up. And for what it's worth, the 20th ranked bullpen in all of baseball. So we know about the Yankees' dynamic lineup. We know about the top 2 starters at the very top of the rotation. Question now is the bullpen. And they discussed it on the broadcast tonight. If you were paying attention, it could be a problem. Certainly at the back end. We have Bednar, who's been great. Everything the Yankees could have desired in acquiring a closer. Problem is, Doval hasn't been great. Bird is in the minors. Loaizaga's hurt again. Fernando Cruz, who was great up until tonight, crumbled. Mark Leiter Jr., not a high leverage guy. Either is Tim Hill. So again, pieces to be put together at the very late stages of this game, specifically with the non-high leverage relievers. Now, obviously, every non-high leverage reliever is a lesser important piece to that bullpen. However, if you're top heavy in the bullpen, it's going to eventually catch up to you, specifically in the playoffs. Now, Yanks have a very good shot at getting to one of those 2 byes in the American League. Obviously, that would be huge, considering that's 3 games, or at least 2, they don't have to play. But again, they still have to fight for the division as well. Again, they entered play tonight 2 back of the Blue Jays. As for Fernando Cruz, and again, it was a terrible inning for so many reasons. It allowed most of the Yankee Stadium crowd to go home early anyways. It's his first outing this season without recording an out. And believe it or not, for what it's worth is not much. Believe it or not, the 4th time in his career, and especially with the advent of the minimum 3-batter rule, it's the 4th time in his career that he hasn't recorded an out in an outing. Amazing stuff. It's the first time in franchise history the Yankees had 2 relievers allow at least 4 earned runs each and get no outs in a game. Again, as we said, Cruz, no outs recorded, 5 earned runs allowed. Mark Leiter Jr., no outs recorded, 4 earned runs allowed. So again, all 9 runs in that inning came courtesy of 2 pitchers who did not record an out. As we said, they threw 36 pitches combined, 20 for Cruz. Mark Leiter Jr. threw 16. So that's 36 pitches total between the two of them. Again, no outs recorded. They combined to throw 14 strikes. 14. Cruz, 20 pitches, 7 strikes. Leiter Jr., 16 pitches, 7 strikes. They combined to walk 4 batters, and obviously wild pitches in there as well. What a disaster of an inning. And it goes further. As we said, it's the first time in franchise history the Yanks have had 2 relievers do that. The Yanks are the second team in at least 75 years to have 2 relievers allow at least 4 earned runs and get 0 outs in a game. You probably don't recall. I didn't. The Angels did it on August 31st in 1999 against Cleveland. So again, twice it's happened. Tonight was one of those times. Again, 14 batters came to the plate in the 7th. Every batter scored in that frame. The most runs allowed in an inning for the Yankees in over 2 years. And again, the bullpen entered play tonight with an ERA almost 4.5. Well, that's certainly going up tonight after 9 earned runs between 2 pitchers who did not record an out. Now, Paul Blackburn did allow a run, but it was an unearned run. He got the final 6 outs for the Yankees. And for what it's worth, and we'll get to Aaron Judge in the offense, for what it's worth, the final 9 Yankees went down in order, all courtesy of Chris Paddock. Got the final 9 Yankees. Admittedly, in the bottom of the 7th, after a 9-run frame, the game is over. You know it. So you can understand why the Yankees went so quietly in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. Just no juice left. The game was over. And that takes us right to this.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Yeah, I think this one's fairly easy to let you know in on, and that, of course, is the 7th inning. That is the turning point of the game. Again, it was 2-2, and again, as I said, we'll get to Aaron Judge. It was 2-2 in a relatively well-pitched game. Will Warren, 6 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned, obviously gave up the home run to Parker Meadows, but again, struck out 5 through 91 pitches. In fact, now, obviously, this doesn't mean much now, but in the early struggles of that 7th inning, I was thinking to myself, especially with Fernando Cruz, who was the first man out of the bullpen, thinking to myself, oh, Warren only threw 91 pitches. Any specific reason he's not out for the 7th? Now, obviously, it looks bad now, but at the time I said, I'm surprised Will Warren isn't coming out for another inning. However, we did do some work, and here's the deal. The 30th start of the season already for Will Warren, way past innings expectations for anyone his age and his experience coming in. His 30th start for a guy that wasn't even in the rotation to start the year. If you recall, Garrett Cole got hurt, Luis Gil got hurt. That forced Warren into the rotation. And again, he's made his 30th start of the season for a guy that, 1, is a rookie, and 2, had no plans on being in the rotation when the year started, or at least spring training started. That being said, after a first inning double to Glaber, of all people, who got a standing ovation tonight as well, he retired the next 11 in a row before the 2-run home run, or at least before that inning, before the 5th inning. So from the 1st to the 5th, Warren retired 11 in a row. Obviously, it ended the good times in the 5th when Parker Meadows hit the home run. But again, excellent job from Will Warren. As for Casey Mize, figured the Yankees had the pitching advantage tonight. Well, Mize fared pretty well, better than I expected. 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned, 8 Ks. He only threw 88 pitches, but again, at that point, didn't need him going any further because the damage had been done in the 7th inning. As for Aaron Judge, we will get to him coming up next. Obviously, history was made. It was overshadowed by the fact that the Yankees had one of the worst innings in decades. But again, we'll talk Aaron Judge coming up next. All right, there's nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person, but actually getting tickets, well, that's the tough part. Queues, login screens, surprise fees. It takes all the fun out of it. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. The app made it super simple. I could even see the exact view from my seat before buying. I love zone deals too. Pick the section, Game Time picks the seats, and you save big. Honestly, it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way I've bought tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. All right, next up is Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, of course, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. I linked all my accounts to Monarch and immediately spotted a few subscriptions I wasn't even using. Canceling those alone saved me money every month. Monarch makes it simple to review my finances with my partner. We can both see budgets, goals, and spending activity in one place. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB. All right, we are back, and without further ado, let's get to it. We've been talking about it, and he was brilliant once again.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
All right, it's obviously Aaron Judge who hits another home run tonight. The home run, his 44th of the season and the 359th of his career. Why is that significant? Well, because it puts him in sole possession of 5th place on the Yankees all-time home run list. He passes Yogi. Yogi and Judge were together at 358. It's now solo 5th for Judge at 359. August 7th, 1957. Those were the same top 5 Yankee home run hitters since then. It has not changed until tonight. And it's going to change again soon because up next, Joe DiMaggio at 361. Again, Judge at 359, 2 back of Joe D, 5th all-time. So again, game ball and kudos to Aaron Judge. As for the rest of the offense, not a single Yankee had more than 1 hit. In fact, Yanks managed just 4 hits on the night. The Judge home run, the Cody Bellinger home run, and then 2 singles. A single from Jazz Chisholm and a single from Austin Wells. That was it. Just 4 hits. And obviously, you could say, well, it was a 12-2 game, so they're probably not very pumped to be playing. However, it was 2-2 into the 7th. So it's not like the Yankees didn't have ample opportunities to put hits on the board, put runs on the board. They obviously did not do that. So, as we said, 12-2 the final score. Of course, the Yankees began the day 2 back of the Blue Jays in the division, so they lose at least a half game there to Toronto. The Tigers are now 83-62. And remember, there's still plenty to play for, including buys and home field and obviously the division as well. Yanks are 80-64. So they're now 2.5 behind the Tigers for one of those 2 buys in the American League. Also worthy of note, we mentioned the offense, and I failed to mention this, and I wanted to. I made a note of it. Anthony Volpe and Ryan McMahon, who batted 8th and 9th respectively tonight, well, they went 0 for 3 each. The Yankees' last 2 games for Volpe and McMahon. Get this. This is astounding. They're 0 for 12 with 11 Ks and the popped-up sack bunt from Volpe. Again, they were both 0 for 3 tonight. They struck out a combined 5 times. They're 0 for 12 the last 2 games with 11 Ks combined and a popped-up sack bunt. If you throw Austin Wells in there for 7, 8, 9 in that order, it's horrible. It's just horrible. Wells is hitting 214. Volpe's hitting 206. Ryan McMahon's hitting 218, and they all strike out a ton. So, again, the bottom of the Yankee lineup, yeesh, not good. Not good. Again, 12-2 the final score, and we have just confirmed that the Blue Jays win. Now, it was 3-0 and 3-1 Astros over the Blue Jays all night long until Toronto scored 2 in the bottom of the ninth to send it to extras. They just walked it off in the 10th, 4-3. So the Yanks lose a full game to the Blue Jays. Right now, the Yankees are 3 back of Toronto. As for the probables, Jack Flaherty and Carlos Rodon tomorrow. Wednesday, it'll be Cam Schlittler for the Yankees. It will not be Tariq Skubal for Detroit, but again, they have not announced who will start on Thursday. Again, Flaherty, Rodon tomorrow. It's another big moment on Locked On College Football fans. Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation alongside 2-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local experts. A college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday through the season, only on Fire TV. Also want to mention our partners in crime at Locked On Yankees, Stacey Gotsulias and Brian McKeon. Again, all the stuff at Locked On Yankees is theirs, so follow, subscribe, and enjoy. Again, 12-2 the final score. Yanks smoked by Detroit. Toronto wins. Yanks now 3 back of the Blue Jays. And again, after every game, we're with you right here on the Postcast. My name is Jay Berman. Until tomorrow.